Here are 5 things you should know about Secure Act 2.0. The Secure Act 2.0 was a bill that was squished into this omnibus thing that was signed at the end of 2022. The Secure Act by itself, this 2.0, the second version, is hundreds, if not thousands of pages. Just the other day, I read a 38-page summary. And these 5 things really stood out because that's what's impactful to you as a near retiree or someone who's in retirement. First, they're changing the RMD age again. RMDs are those required distributions. And for the longest time, it had been 70 and a half. The IRS loves those half ages. About 2 years ago, they changed it to age 72 is when it would start if you weren't there yet. And now they're increasing it to age 73 and then all the way up to age 75, depending on how old you are. Now, the most important thing is that you understand that it's coming. Uncle Sam has been waiting to get his hands on that money. He has been waiting to take his piece. And if you have the ability and the desire to defer, Uncle Sam's just finally saying, give me my share. It's interesting to note what has allowed him to do that is the fact that on the back end, when the next generation receives those pre-tax accounts, the accounts that haven't been taxed by Uncle Sam yet, now Uncle Sam has squished the timeline during which they have to remove the money. So it's actually a revenue generator for Uncle Sam. He just has to wait a little bit longer. And what he's doing with this is just saying, okay, I'll wait a little bit longer when we know that he's eventually going to get his hands on that money. So that's number 1. Number 2, the penalty for a missed required distribution used to be 50% of the missed distribution plus regular ordinary taxes on that. He has since changed that and reduced it down to 10% of anything that's missed. Now, number 1, don't miss an RMD. Like, make sure you take it. All your custodians are essentially obligated to send you letters that tell you how much they are and what you should be taking out. The first distribution in the calendar year is considered your RMD, so make sure you handle that. And if you're taking the money anyway, you're going to satisfy it. But there was this, I'll use the fancy word, draconian rule, where if you missed a distribution and left it in there, you would have to pay 50% of it. That's gone. Now it's down to 10% of that amount. The more detailed facts are, Uncle Sam used to never really assess that 50% fee because he was very lenient about it. With this 10% penalty, it's expected that it's going to be assessed more. So just make sure you don't miss an RMD. Number 3, there's these things called qualified longevity annuity contracts, QLACs. They're essentially pieces of your IRAs that you set up for income just in case you live into your 90s. Uncle Sam used to say, okay, if you set these things up, you don't have to take RMDs out of that portion. That amount that he allowed people to set up into QLACs used to be the lesser of 25% of the account balance or $125,000. Now, what he's doing is he's actually increasing that to anywhere from 125 to 200. I think it's going to come over a scale over time. But basically, he knows people are living longer and he knows people need to be planning for that. So he has actually allowed for these qualified longevity annuity contracts, which defer RMDs for that section of dollars, to be pushed out in a slightly larger amount over time. So expect to see that coming down the pike. Number 4, catch-up contributions inside IRAs currently have been stuck at $6,500. Every once in a while they increase now and then, but right now they're at $6,500 for IRAs. What's interesting is that Uncle Sam, once a person gets into their 60s, this Secure Act 2.0 allows an individual to push up to $10,000 into those IRAs when they're in their 60s as they're getting closer and closer to retirement. That's a positive. We should be taking advantage of our 401ks if we have them. We should be taking advantage of our IRAs. Quite frankly, in that world, those are one of the best places to get money into that pre-tax world because then it allows you to eventually convert that to tax-free forever when you get into Roth strategy. The fact that Uncle Sam is changing those catch-up contributions to bump them up to 10 grand is potentially a good thing. And number 5, this one jumped off the page at me. Uncle Sam is now allowing someone who has unused money inside of a 529 account, which is an after-tax contribution, tax-free for educational use account. Unused money inside 529s will now be permitted after a certain timeline. It's like if it's been in there for 15 years, if it hasn't been used for education, I think there might be a maximum of $35,000, but it is permitted now to be converted into a Roth IRA for the beneficiary of the 529, basically the individual that the 529 was created for. This is massive and an incredible opportunity to get money into that world for next generation down, especially if they don't end up using it for education. So those are the 5 things that you should know about Secure Act 2.0. Any questions, let me know. We'll make more videos about it. But those are the things that stood out for what can impact you.